How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to the Eternal Wrestling Podcast. I'm Jacob, and as you can probably tell, I'm still dealing with this sickness I got with the mucus, and my voice is just messed up. But we're going to keep plowing on, because we have some wrestling news. We're going to be covering last night's Raw, where Raw meets Stranger Things, and it's the 1 year anniversary for WWE to be on Netflix. So, with the Stranger Things crossover, first we're going to just kind of talk about the vibes they had going on. The entire arena decked out in the upside down kind of tentacles. That's the best way to describe it. They had an 80s news van and a pizza truck from the show. And backstage they had a Demogorgon statue. But that was pretty much it. As in spooky Stranger Things. I would have liked to see more horror themes. Or maybe just a couple themed matches. But for whatever reason they decided not to go that route. Which I just would have liked to see some more horror-esque or maybe 80s vibes, because Michael Cole was talking about tonight's about nostalgia and the 80s, and there really wasn't much he's involved with what was going on. But the show started out with the women's tag team title match, where we had the Kabuki Warriors, Kairi Sane and Asuka, against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. So I enjoyed this match. The Kabuki Warriors, they were really trying to use a lot of double teaming maneuvers towards the end of the match. They were really trying to isolate Rhea Ripley and just wear her out, because she is a powerhouse and she's probably just the more dominant physical presence out of the two between her and Io in that tag team. And eventually Rhea is able to hit her finishing maneuver, the Riptide, and Io does a moonsault and Rhea takes the pin. We get some new women's tag team champions. I'm really a big fan of Rhea Ripley, have been for a very long time. So it's really nice to see them interjecting her into the women's tag division to just really let's beef this up and make these tag team titles worth something. But on a side note here, since the Kabuki Warriors have lost the titles, we could see Kairi Sane finally standing up for herself and fighting Asuka. Asuka's been really toxic and controlling in their friendship relationship dynamic they have going on. She's always screaming at Kairi, "Come on, Kairi!" and kind of just pulling the strings here. So hopefully we see that happen in the months going forward, or heck, they could use this as a building block to build towards the Royal Rumble or Mania. But the Royal Rumble is at the end of this month, last I checked. And with it just a couple months until Mania, they could stretch the story out depending on what they see fit. But I would definitely like to see Kairi get some momentum back and take down Asuka and just pretty much stick it to the man. Stick it to the oppressor a little bit, so to speak. Next we had Gunther making his way to the ring, and he's going to cut a promo here, but he brings a shirt out with him during his entrance of him making John Cena tap out. And as he enters the ring and he starts going on, he mentions that he is not getting the respect he deserves, even though he is supposed to respect the WWE Universe and management. And he feels that he should get more respect since he was able to retire John Cena. And he keeps alluding to, he made John Cena tap out like a bitch. I'm getting tired of this. This is his whole shtick lately these past couple of weeks. But I'm glad AJ Styles came out to just shut his mouth. And as AJ's in the ring and he's trying to confront Gunther, Gunther just keeps interrupting AJ at every moment he can and mocking AJ, laughing in his face, saying that, "What are you going to do, little AJ?" So AJ pops him right in the mouth. And AJ says, "You know what? You're not going to do nothing." And off he walks. AJ got the last laugh here. I'm glad, as I was saying, I'm very tired of Gunther. That's all he can talk about is, "I made John Cena tap out. I retired John Cena." Okay, that's fine and all, but we need to move on. And I'm glad this happened so that we could move on here and have some storyline progression. Also, something that's kind of concerning or maybe foreshadowing is that this year is going to be AJ Styles' last year, and with Gunther kind of being the modern legend killer, taking out Goldberg and John Cena, he might be the one to retire AJ. I guess just time will tell in this happenstance. We get some video packages about the Women's Intercontinental title match, Becky Lynch against Maxine Dupree. Becky makes her entrance, but then we get a shot backstage. Ivy Nile, she's talking to the general manager, Adam Pearce. She's like, "I'm not going to the back of the line. I want a title shot for the Intercontinental Women's Championship. Give it to me, pretty much." And anyways, Adam Pearce is just like, "Let's just see who wins this match, and we'll go from there." And then Gunther, he's storming to the back to find Pearce, and he's like, "I want AJ next week." And then AJ pops out, and he's like, "You know what, Gunther? you're a little bitch. And basically, a match is set for next Monday. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that AJ does come out the victor in this battle. Gunther needs a knockdown. He definitely needs to be knocked off his pedestal and humbled. I feel like that would benefit his character and maybe make him a bit more vile and violent, and we could have a good rivalry for a couple months, or however long AJ's deciding to stay around. He could go out a lot more quietly than John Cena did. I guess this year we'll just tell. And anyways, then we go back to the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. And a thing to note here is Becky's ring gear. It's yellow. It's inspired by Star Trek. I thought it looked futuristic before the announce team did mention that it's Star Trek inspired. There's definitely was lots of back and forth here. Maxine, she got an ankle lock on Becky, but Becky was able to turn the ankle lock around into a pinning maneuver, and she was leaning back to grab the rope as leverage to cheat to regain the Intercontinental Championship. That's fine, she's a heel. Heels are going to cheat. I just don't understand why they're taking the title off of Maxine so soon, unless they got some bigger plans for her, or maybe she's going to chase the title again going into Rumble, Elimination Chamber, or Mania season. Something else I was thinking about was with like the women's mid-card titles, the Intercontinental title and the US title, they're taking the title off of someone to put on someone new to just put it back on the previous title holder. They're just unsure of what to really do here, or what the overall plan is going to be. It's hard to say. Next we get like an Oba Femi vignette. I don't know a lot about his character other than he's like a kind of like a Nigerian ruler type. He's just a big, meaty man, strong, powerful. He really dominated Cody in their showing at Saturday night's main event. So maybe he's coming to Raw, or that's kind of what the hint is here. He will be coming to Raw maybe eventually, but yet he is also the NXT World Champion last I knew. I don't follow NXT closely. I've tried, and the last time I really looked into NXT was when Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes were there, and they were in that main event title picture for the NXT Championship. So it's definitely been a while. Next up, we had the Usos come out through the crowd. They're yeeting everybody's crowd participation. They're hyped up. They cut a very quick promo to the point. Essentially, we're the best tag team in the game, and we're basically just going to take the tag team division. We're going to elevate it, and we're putting everybody on notice here on Raw. Hey, this is fine. It sufficed for what they needed to do here. Nothing great of substance. My issue with the Usos situation. So last year, we had Jay just getting pushed to the moon. He won the Royal Rumble. He wins the World Heavyweight title off of Gunther. He keeps it for, I think, maybe a month, maybe two. It felt like a short title reign. Gunther comes back, takes the title off of Jay, and Jay's just kind of floundering. It was interesting, though, when Roman was there, and there was this family kind of feud dynamic between the twins, Jimmy and Jay, and Roman influencing Jay as like, hey, you don't need your brother. You need to drop him and focus on yourself in order to become world champion again. So it felt like there might be a Jay Uso heel turn, and maybe he would feud with his brother, but it was not to be. And here we are. Instead of having two single competitors, Jimmy and Jay, they are both relegated back to the tag team division. I just would rather see them on separate courses, going their own ways. I'd really like to see Jimmy kind of get his in a way, because he was on SmackDown and like going after the US title, becoming US champ. That's where I would like to see him migrate towards, but back to the Raw Tag Team division, what are we doing? Not trying to moan and groan. We need some more flavor here in the mix. We can't keep relaying the same old stories over and over and over. It's going to get stale. And like I mentioned last episode, SmackDown has the stacked tag team division, and Raw, it's like they're just throwing people together. Heck, they threw AJ Styles with Dragon Lee together, and they were entertaining, both high flyers and athletic, but here we are. This is what's going on. And then in the next segment, we had the women's world champion, Stephanie Vakir. She's coming to the ring, and she's wearing a walking boot. This immediately had me questioning what is going on here. I was afraid she's going to relinquish the title, and that was going to be heartbreaking in itself, because I like Stephanie. I like her as a character and in-ring performer. And she cuts a promo mostly in Spanish, addressing her ankle injury, but she does mention, even though she does seem emotional during this, and almost tears up, that it's not going to stop her from defending her championship, which I was very happy to hear. because I don't like people being seriously injured and having to drop their titles or needing surgery. So she's been feuding with Raquel Rodriguez, and out comes Raquel with a sneak attack. Stephanie in targeting the the ankle that's in the boot. Eventually she does grab a chair to try to really smash up her ankle, but she doesn't take the boot off the ankle and use the chair, which seems a little silly to me. But hey, she's in a rush. She's trying to injure her opponent. She's trying to get the job done quick. And eventually, the referees and management rush to the ring. They stop Raquel before she can really do a number on Stephanie. Then we go backstage. Stephanie is walking down a corridor in the back. Raquel just comes at her again, determined to just get her at all costs. She, from what I understood, was Pierce decided to suspend her, or he said that I'm going to fine you, and he's screaming for a medical team to come back and take a look at Stephanie. We have another backstage segment here. Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio in the locker room area. They're chatting it up, just saying like, hey, I got you, you got me, kind of deal. And then Dragon Lee's like, hey, I gotta go talk to AJ. Cool, whatever. Then enters Penta, and I've been a fan of Penta since his time in AEW. I think he is a very interesting luchador, very much has that visual appeal with his masks and his ring gear and just his in-ring style. And essentially, him and Ray say, like, you know what, I got your back, you got mine, but we need to team up to take down the Vision because they want to destroy honor and respect, which is what Lucha Libre stands for. That's pretty much it. Planting the seed for a new story beat as we will have some luchadors taking on the Vision, possibly going forward. I would like to see that. I always love seeing Penta having matches and on my screen every chance I can. So in the next upcoming match, we have Liv Morgan. She's returning in her first match since injury, and she's taking on Lyra Valkyria. So Roxanne Perez accompanies Liv to the ring. Bayley is Lyra's tag team partner, so she's with Lyra. And as the match progresses on, Roxanne decides to take out Bayley, and she clotheslines her over the barricade. Bayley pops up, pissed as can be, grabs a steel chair, and chases Roxanne to the back. It looks like we almost had a wardrobe malfunction here, as Roxanne is clutching her top and just booking it to the back as quick as she can. This distraction allowed Liv Morgan to hit her finishing maneuver, the Oblivion, on Lyra, since Lyra was also distracted. And boom, she picks up a win here. Pretty much typical paint by numbers. The heel is able to capitalize on the distraction. And there we go. 1, 2, 3. Liv gets the win in her return match. So we have a backstage interview with CM Punk, our World Heavyweight Champion. Very short, sweet. Punk basically says that if you think I'm going to lose easily, you're underestimating me, and that, he's not going to go down easily here. Pretty much anybody can catch a GTS, the go to sleep, his finishing maneuver, and just walks off. So even though he's older, a seasoned veteran, taking on the youthful Braun Breaker, he doesn't want to seem like he's down and out. The old dog might be in this fight, but the old dog is definitely going to put up a fight. And it's main event time for the World Heavyweight Championship. Braun Breaker, CM Punk, World Heavyweight title on the line. Braun, he has red and black gear to match the darkness of the Stranger Things and the red and black vibes and font from the TV show, which is fine with me. Hey, he's a heel. That's all good and dandy. And CM Punk, he comes out with a varsity jacket, blue and yellow, reminiscent of the Steiners during the 90s. And over the course of the match, Braun Breaker's faction, the Vision, the members come out, they distract the ref, Punk gets attacked, but that doesn't let Breaker get the win, which has usually been a common theme, as in the heels always have backup. They get the win, they get the championship. It was so apparent during Roman Reigns' World Championship wins with the Usos always interfering in every single one of his matches. It became quite a bore to watch. I'm really glad that instance did not happen here. So the Vision came out, and it was awesome to see Penta, Rey Mysterio, and Dragon Lee come out to combat that and give Punk some breathing room. And after this little situation, Punk, he was having a really hard time putting Breaker away, and he eventually had to resort to using a pile driver. That doesn't even keep Braun down. And Braun Breaker, he gets like an arm bar on Punk, and Punk is able to maneuver his way into using that into an Anaconda Vice, which is his submission maneuver, capitalizing on the arm. But Braun Breaker, he's youthful. He's able to power up. It's a gutbuster to Punk, but he still cannot keep Punk down for 3. And next up, Braun he decides that he's going to give Punk a GTS. He does the hands to the head sleep motion, gets Punk up. Punk reverses it into an STF submission to give some homage back to John Cena, which that's been happening a lot through the weeks. People have been paying some homage to Cena and some of his maneuvers, episodes of Raw and SmackDown. Braun, he's able to crawl, get a rope break, and of course, big old Paul Heyman jumps up on the ring apron to assist Braun. Punk gets all up in Heyman's face here. Braun is trying to capitalize on the distraction and take a spear at Punk. Punk's able to dodge this, and then Punk decides to go for a running dive to the outside at Breaker. Breaker hits him with a good punch. Punk collides right down into the padding head first, and since this instance happened, Punk, after this match, he was put into concussion protocol to make sure he's going to be alright. After this instance, Punk, he's trying to get back to his feet. He's leaning on the announce table. He's just, trying to get wind back in his lungs. Braun Breaker climbs up to the top rope, jumps, a big, kind of flying splash, putting CM Punk through the announce table, totally destroying it, of course. And then he rolls CM Punk back into the ring and decides he's going to hit a big spear. So he's running back and forth, hitting the ropes, running the ropes, getting a bunch of momentum. Going to hit that really powerful spear on Punk. He's winding up. He runs, goes for the spear. He lunges, and CM Punk somehow manages to get his knee up, taking it right to the jaw of Braun Breaker. Picks up Breaker, hits the GTS. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk retains the championship here. Something that's really been big in wrestling here lately is head trauma, and a lot of people are just landing on their heads and necks. So I really hope that WWE and other promotions are able to maybe just take a good look at their performers and move sets, try to put some more instances in place that, hey, maybe we should stop certain moves, maybe we just need to be more careful. Braun Breaker did his Frankensteiner to Punk, and I watched it back a couple of times. He just got a little too eager. He wasn't able to catch Punk the way he needed to. Landed right on top of his head. Could have had a concussion or a broken neck. As they say, wrestling is not ballet. All in all, with this episode, I thought it was a good Raw, but the way it was advertised with all the championship matches, not mind-blowing here. I felt like we had some good conclusions to things. We had some new beginnings as well. Still a fun episode. Definitely not the worst Raw I've ever watched in my life. And I'm excited to see where we go from here. As in the end of the month, like I said, we got the Royal Rumble. And once the Rumble is over, we're in full force to Mania season. So definitely expect more coverage on that. And it's going to be exciting to see main events forming for WrestleMania, new rivalries, and with the additions of new people into Raw and SmackDown, hopefully they get some WrestleMania matches as well. So I hope you all enjoy this episode, and whether you're watching in the morning or at night, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll catch you in the next one.